You have to be crook to be successful, otherwise you're going to be in a bad state. Hi guys, thank you very much for coming back to my channels. To those new, thank you for stopping by. In this video, I'd like to talk about the dark side of the architecture professions. When I was a student, I remember one of my lecturers said, and why certain architects such as Nolan Foster can take the big jobs or certain kind of jobs, and while the others can't do the job. He pointed out that the way certain architect can convince client and some people can't convince client to the way it's supposed to be, doesn't mean that one is knowing more than the others. It's to do with how well he presents his work and how the other can't present the works. How architect actually can portray a certain character that he is the right for the job. So that's all it is. Many of the successful architects didn't really tell the story about the side of the failure, because the high-profile project overshadowed the hidden part of the story. For example, Antoni Gaudi, one of the greatest architects that we had heard of, the Spanish architect. If you go to Barcelona, numbers of projects, for example, Sagrada Familia, or one of the churches that he did. So while under construction, apparently on the way home, he went missing. Only found out that he died the following day. Apparently, he either suicidal because he was knocked over by a train, or either fatal accident. Nobody sure. That is why the project is still under construction today, because the main architect died during the construction. There is no such thing as right or wrong in design. Design could be irrelevant today as long as it makes sense that in response to the brief or the site context. A lecturer said, if it's up to me, I will give you top mark. But the way you can present your work, you did not convince me. For that reason, I just give you pass. That what my lecturer said to many students. And of course, when it comes to education, flying colors, that is everybody's dream, to have the top marks from the top university, so that we can land a job on a top practice. Because we program to believe that the only way forward is to get a top mark from the top university in order to get a job from the top practices. Having said that, deep down, every one of the architect, once you're done, everybody wants to have their own practice. The top result, top university, top practice. The way forward to create your own practice, the way to convince client. This is the belief system that we have. Education, although some students may come out with distinction or first-class degree, it has nothing to do with how well your design is over the other who has just passed or just a second-class degree. It's all to do with how well you're connected with your lecturers. This is what lecturers said. Likewise, how well you're connected with the clients, how well you're connected with your superior. If you work with a firm, a well-established firm, you will be promoted to be a principal or one of the directors associate, because you're well connected the way you convince your employee, your superior. Similarly, suppose you have your own project, how well you convince your client to sign the deal, to get the deal done. That's how you become successful. In that sense, looking back to the university, because it's not a mathematics, as I said before, that 1 + 1 has to be 2. When it comes to design, it's all about making sense. There's no right or wrong, as long as it makes sense in that particular time. How convincing you can deliver your project and presenting your work to your client or your superior. Now, when you compare between the two, the university and the real world, suppose the person coming out as the first-class degree or distinction from the university, maybe likely he will landing a job at a top practice. And the other one, the one who just got ordinary marks, may not get that. But when it comes to work in the real practice, maybe change. Maybe the people that he works with didn't get on well. Maybe he's not going to make it further. Unlike from the university, and the other student who gets normal mark may not be successful in the university, but might be successful in the real world. That's how it works. It's all to do with, like I said, it's about the right place at the right time. Now, I remember when I was watching one of the documentary about the journey of Norman Foster and Rogers, how he started his practice, successful practice during his career, and he laughed at one of his stories. He said that when he started, a few clients came over to his house, and he send either his wife at the time to go to the kitchen, because they were working from home then, pretend to do something, knocking on the kitchen workplace, pretended to be busy, and telling client that they were busy with project, that because of the way they portray themselves as though they were busy, well, too many works, it gives the client the idea that, wow, these people are the right people for us to do the project. So they sign the deal done, they get the job done, basically. So in that sense, he said, the way forward to convince client is you have to do meanness. It could be not necessarily real, but just to lie sometimes, or to be crook, basically, and to get the job. And of course, to convince client in different way to get the job, to become what now Foster is today. The qualification you get from university does not determine your future career. Suppose you work alone or work for someone, because from the experience that I have, a few of my friends who were granted the top mark from university, first class degree and distinction for the postgraduate, one ended up selling muffin after working a couple of years in the top practice. He is feel dissatisfied, unrewarded with the firm, so he decided to quit selling muffin, making bread, a very successful bread maker, and moved to Germany. And the second one got distinction from postgraduate, first class degree. And after 6-7 years working, he never got the chance to be promoted or started his own practice, never convinced the client to grant big project, so that to quit. He's now running his own private beauty parlor in London, and but then is very successful. And unlike a couple of friends, people that I know, acquaintance rather, not really friends, got the second class degree and just passed from the postgraduate. And in fact, they had to repeat his postgraduate for 1 year, and didn't get the job straight away with the firm when they finished out, coming out of the university. And now, after many years now, I heard that he's now one of the associate directors with one of the well-established firms in London. Proof that the qualification you get from university does not determine your future career. And of course, I know one of my associates before that I used to work with. She used to work for one of the top firm in London. She one of the associate directors, and the firm went into liquidation. So it was hard for her to find a position where she was in different firm, and she disappeared for over a year. And we find out, I was invited to the funeral. I found out that she died of a suicide, and one of the train line in London. Apparently that was the second attempt, and she finally died. And it was a sad story from a being successful architect into a suicidal end story, which is really sad. And there are many similar dark side of architect out there that is never been told. And of course, every one of the architect trying to the best, not just working with the firm, but they want to practice their own practice. A lot of them, you could say, the right place, the right time, or smart or not so smart somehow. Some of them, everybody had dreams, but some dream comes true, some not. And there are architects that are working with firm. While they're working with the firm, they're pursuing their own practice, outside work, to play safe. Playing safe not very bad, is because at the end of the day we are paying our bills. But then there are architects who decided to quit the job, decided to have their own practice, but then when they jump into that, realize there was a dead end, there's no project, end up doing something seriously wrong, end up doing some of them too proud to do other things, end up in a bad state, and some being open to other opportunity and to other things to survive. And the reality is that a lot of architects who has the best experience, the best school result, the best portfolio, the best resume, not necessarily end up having the best practice, not necessarily achieve what they want in the career. And likewise, so who was just ordinary mediocre result end up having a well-established practice in London or abroad. It's all about, like from the beginning, from my one-on-one lecturers say why certain architect can, some people can't, and then some people can convince. It's about convincing your client. And I think conclusion, to be successful in architecture, I think any other business, you have to be crook. Basically, you have to be crook, and to be successful. And of course, you have to deliver the job, the service that you promise. But to convince client, you have to be crook. And unless you have something absolute dynamics, that's something like complete new ingredients, the architecture services never offered to any client before, then you may be successful. Otherwise, the only way forward, from what I have seen so far from many architects have said before, you have to be crook to be successful. Otherwise, you're going to be in a bad state. And thank you for watching. I hope this is insightful, and thank you very much for watching, and I hope you support my channel. Thank you very much.